The Bell Witch, America's most terrifying haunting. In the early 19th century, deep in the quiet countryside of Adams, Tennessee, the Bell family lived a peaceful life on their 320-acre farm. John Bell, the head of the household, was a respected man in the community, known for his honesty and hard work. He lived there with his wife Lucy and their children, including their young daughter, Betsy Bell. But what happened on that land would go down in history as one of the most horrifying and mysterious hauntings in the United States. The first signs. It all began in 1817. One evening, as John Bell walked through his cornfield, he noticed something strange. A creature with the body of a dog and the head of a rabbit staring at him from the edge of the woods. When he raised his rifle and fired, it vanished into thin air. That night, the family heard knocking on the walls of their cabin. At first, they assumed it was an animal, but the knocks continued night after night, growing louder and closer. Sometimes they came from the walls, sometimes the ceiling, and sometimes from under the floors. Then came the chains, the chilling sound of heavy metal chains dragging across the floor, echoing through the house in the dead of night. The voice in the dark. Soon the disturbances became more personal. The children's bed covers were pulled off as they slept. Pillows were snatched from under their heads. But the worst happened to young Betsy Bell, who became the main target of the entity. She began waking up with red handprints on her face and neck. Her hair was pulled violently, and sometimes she was slapped across the face by an invisible force. Then the whispering started. At first, it was only soft murmurs, like someone speaking in the next room. Over time, the whispers grew clearer. The voice began to recite scriptures, sing hymns, and even mimic the family members' voices. Terrified and confused, the Bells turned to their neighbors for help. Word spread quickly, and people from all around came to witness the phenomena for themselves. The spirit started talking directly to visitors, calling out secrets that no one else could have known, including details from people's pasts and private lives. The entity identified itself as Kate, saying she was a spirit who had been wronged and now sought revenge, specifically on John Bell. The haunting escalates. By now, the haunting had taken over the Bell household. Visitors came and left in shock, many swearing they'd never return. Some claimed they saw chairs levitate, others heard blood-curdling screams in the woods surrounding the property. Even Andrew Jackson, who would later become the President of the United States, reportedly visited the Bell home after hearing about the supernatural events. According to legend, he and his men experienced such terrifying encounters that they left before the night was over, declaring, "I'd rather face the entire British Army than spend another night with the Bell Witch." The death of John Bell. In 1820, John Bell began suffering from a strange illness. He had sudden seizures, blackouts, and extreme fatigue. Doctors couldn't explain his symptoms. During his final days, the spirit's voice was heard laughing and saying, "He will never rise again." On the morning of his death, a small vial of black liquid was found beside his bed. No one knew where it came from. When a drop was given to the family cat, it died instantly. The spirit claimed it had poisoned him, finally achieving its goal. At John Bell's funeral, many guests claimed they heard Kate's mocking laughter echoing from the woods. The aftermath. After John's death, the haunting lessened, but didn't disappear entirely. Betsy Bell, now a teenager, had become engaged to a local boy. The spirit strongly disapproved and tormented her until she broke off the engagement. Then, just like that, in 1821, the entity announced she would leave the Bell family alone, but would return in 107 years. In 1935, strange occurrences were reported again on the old Bell property. Sightings of shadows, unexplainable sounds, and cold spots in the nearby cave, now called the Bell Witch Cave. That cave still exists today, and people who visit report whispers, unseen hands touching them, and overwhelming feelings of dread. The legacy. To this day, the Bell Witch haunting remains one of the most thoroughly documented supernatural cases in American history. Historians, skeptics, and paranormal investigators have all tried to explain it, but no one has been able to fully debunk it. Whether it was a vengeful spirit, a demon, or something else entirely, one thing is certain. The Bell family's life was never the same again, and for those who dare to visit that land, the witch may still be watching.